Hello everybody, it's Tim here again, and another movie review, this time for The First Omen. Now, The First Omen is, well, obviously a prequel to the Omen franchise, mainly a prequel to the first movie. In terms of, like, the Omen, like, movie franchises, I believe this is, like, what, like, the fifth film? Or, no, the sixth, maybe? Counting the reboot. Just to go over my thoughts on those films, I don't think I've actually reviewed them. The original Omen I actually really like. I really like the original Omen. I think it's pretty much a masterpiece of a film. Omen 2, that one was, from what I remember, it's been a while since I've seen some of these. The Omen 2 I remember being, like, alright. Then Omen 3, like, Final Conflict or whatever, the one with Sam Neill as the grown-up version of the Antichrist, that one was just, like, okay or passable. And then and that pretty much wrapped up the story of the movie with the death of Damien Thorne, the Antichrist character, by the end of the third movie. And that pretty much wrapped up the story of the movies. But then you had, like, this cash grab Omen 4, which was like a TV movie about, like, the random daughter of Damien that was born or something secretly or whatever, and she was actually the real Antichrist. It's really stupid, obviously just a cash grab to try to keep the franchise going so they can try to milk it. And then they did a remake, I believe, after that with the first movie, which was pretty much the same exact movie shot for shot. It's the same thing they did with Psycho. Completely pointless, crap, trash. Just no reason to have it made because it did nothing. And then we have The First Omen, which is a prequel to the original film. But the reason this movie works, I'll go ahead and say it's a 4 out of 4 film. It's a great horror flick and a great prequel. One of actually the only good prequels, or only prequel movies in general I've ever liked. It still suffers from some of the same problems as other prequels inherently. But at the same time, the reason why this movie works is because it's really a standalone story that doesn't connect to the first Omen movie until really the end. So that's really why this movie kind of works. At the same time, it has natural flaws. We just got the movie Immaculate not too long ago, which I also really enjoyed. Didn't love it, but I do think this film right here, First Omen, is slightly better. And I think the reason why is because it feels like the directing is higher caliber here in terms of, like, this movie has some really artistic direction to it. It's not a perfect film, like I said. You know, where you still pretty much have an idea of where this is going because it's a prequel. You know the Antichrist has to be birthed at some point by the end of this, the Damien Thorne character. You got the jackal thing that you see in this. You actually see at the end being set on fire or whatever when the evil nuns congregations decide to, like, burn the place down and take the Antichrist baby so they can go set it up in the world. I like how the movie has the church or a specific church be the ones responsible for the birth of the Antichrist, because they're losing power because people are, like, going away from the church. So in order to gain power, they want to actually birth the Antichrist to try to push people back towards the church. So yeah, really shitty plan, but I do like how they have the church itself actually responsible for the horrible thing that is going to happen in this series. That is pretty ironic. The woman who plays, like, the main character in this, she does a really good job. You think that like the girl in this, who the people at the church have, like, locked up in this room for being weird or whatever, is actually going to end up being the one they're going to force to, like, birth the Antichrist. But if you've seen enough movies, you know the twist is coming where like the main girl or whatever who is trying to figure everything out is actually going to be secretly the one that they've impregnated, and they're going to try to have birth the Antichrist. And you know that's where it's going. So when it gets to that and it's like this big revelation, like, okay, I saw that coming. And of course the other problem is, like, there's been so many devil cult flicks that when you watch this movie you're like, I know where this is going. Not just that, but I mean, I've seen some of this imagery before and all that, but at the same time, it is handled well, and the score is good here. Once or twice it's kind of overbearing, to where I felt like I was at, like, an opera or something, but for the most part this movie has a really creepy, like, unsettling vibe to it. And like I said, the acting is good. Bill Nighy is in this, and it's obvious by the end he's going to be a bad guy. It's really the directing of this that raises the caliber of it. And at the end, she, like, stabs Bill Nighy in the neck. She has 2 kids at the end. They come out in, like, this sack or whatever because the father is the jackal, this mutant creature or whatever. And one of them's a boy, one of them's a girl. The boy, of course, is going to be Damien Thorne. The girl, she actually gets she rescues at the end and takes off with the girl, and this other girl who they were, like, keeping locked up or whatever at this monastery or whatever. And the movie ends with, of course, you know, the Antichrist can't be killed here because he has to go on to be in the movie series. The movie ends with basically this one dude who's, like, trying to help her or whatever show up to her, and he's, like, telling her, like, they know you're alive, and they figured it out. They're gonna come for you and your child because you and the daughter were never supposed to survive. So on one hand, it wraps it up in connecting to the first Omen movie with the whole Damien Thorn thing, and then the Omen story pretty much goes from movie 1, 2, and 3 to Damien's death at the end of 3. Really, though, you get the idea that this movie is kind of a backdoor way to reboot the series, so like they could go in directions. This bombed, so you're not going to get a follow-up, and if you do, it'll be like some direct-to-video thing or something, but you get the idea that really they wanted this to kind of restart the franchise. That they could go in the direction of, Damien died in Omen 3. You know, don't count Omen 4 or whatever. And Damien died in Omen 3, so now this evil congregation group or of Satan worshippers or whatever is after this girl and her daughter, to try to force the daughter to be like the new Antichrist or whatever. Like, you could do it like that, or you could have it to where it ignores every film after the first actual Omen movie, and it could be like the story of like maybe Damien's older or whatever after the first Omen, and he's like, you know, the daughter's like the good sister or whatever. Maybe he's trying to get his sister to join him or something, but she has like supernatural powers herself, but she's not, she has free will and she's not like satanic or whatever like Damien is, you know. And maybe she has like, you know, godlike powers or something, you know. She's using their powers to like help people. She's the good one between the two. Like, he could go some direction like that or whatever, and that feels like what they were kind of trying to do here. At the same time, because this movie did flop, you're not really going to get a follow-up, and also at the same time, it pretty much wraps its story up to where you could just watch this movie, watch the first actual Omen movie, then watch 2 and 3, and just wrap the story up, and you really didn't need any more than that, to be honest. Like, it still comes full circle because of that, and you can just kind of just like ignore like the ending where it's trying to hint that, yeah, we could do more with this, but you don't really have to. You could just say these people went off and lived happily ever after or whatever. And yeah, overall, it's a very extremely well-directed movie. It suffers from being the same old type of thing, some points that you've kind of seen before, and being a prequel, you know where it's going. But because the directing is so well done and so well acted, and it keeps up the really creepy atmosphere with some disturbing imagery at times that really enhances the mood of the film, it really works for what it's going for, which is the birth of the Antichrist. So, for all the good points in this, it makes it a 4 out of 4 film for me, despite the minor gripes I did have. Overall, it's easily the second best Omen film in this franchise, which is a pretty mediocre franchise, to be honest. Really, only the first film and this one really stands out. That's pretty much it. But overall, yeah, it'd be a 4 out of 4 for me. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again.